In 1991, actor Phil Lewis, famous for playing Mr. Mosby on the TV show called The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, was involved in a chilling tragedy. Driving drunk in Maryland, Lewis collided head-on with another car, offing a 21-year-old woman. He was charged with vehicular manslaughter and sentenced to 1 year in prison. Despite this dark past, Lewis later turned his life around and found fame on Disney Channel, leaving many unaware of the haunting event that nearly derailed his life. In a terrifying twist of fate, 7-year-old Momcilo Gavrich became the youngest soldier of World War I after witnessing the massacre of his entire family by Austro-Hungarian troops. Alone and traumatized, Gavrich joined the Serbian army seeking revenge. At an age when most children were just starting school, he was already carrying a rifle and fighting in brutal trench warfare. This morbid chapter of history shows just how dark and horrifying war can be, even dragging children into its bloody grip. Mary and Margaret Gibb were famous conjoined twins who toured with Barnum and Bailey in the 1930s. In 1966, Margaret was diagnosed with bladder cancer, but the sisters refused to be separated, bound by their lifelong connection. A year later, Margaret passed away, and in a chilling twist, Mary died just 2 minutes after her sister. Both were 55 years old, their lives eerily ending together, just as they'd spent every moment since birth. The story remains a haunting reminder of their inseparable bond, even in death. In 2021, Corinna Smith uncovered a horrific truth. Her husband had harmed her children years earlier. In a brutal act of revenge, she boiled a bucket of water, mixed it with sugar to intensify the damage, and poured it over him while he slept. The boiling liquid caused severe burns, leading to his excruciating offing weeks later. This morbid act of vengeance shocked many, revealing just how far someone might go when driven by deep anger and betrayal. A Kentucky sheriff allegedly shot and killed a district judge after they argued inside the judge's chambers. District Judge Kevin Mullins, age 54, was found around 3 p.m. on Thursday, September 19, 2024, with gunshot wounds and pronounced dead at the Letcher County Courthouse in Whitesburg. Letcher County Sheriff Sean M. Steins, age 43, whose role made him responsible for personal security of judges, had shot Mullins after an argument inside the judge's chambers. A preliminary police investigation revealed. Steins is now facing a first-degree murder charge. In a chilling and morbid tragedy, Extortion 17 became the deadliest single incident for U.S. forces in the Afghan War. On August 6, 2011, a Chinook helicopter was shot down by Taliban insurgents, killing all 38 people aboard, including 22 Navy SEALs. This horrifying loss of life included members of the Elite SEAL Team 6, the same unit involved in the Osama bin Laden raid just months prior. The eerie downfall of Extortion 17 shocked the nation, marking a dark day for U.S. Special Forces and highlighting the extreme dangers they face. In June 2005, a covert mission in Afghanistan went horrifically wrong. 4 Navy SEALs were tasked with capturing a Taliban leader. Their position was compromised by goat herders. The SEALs spared them, but soon after, they were ambushed by over 100 insurgents. After a brutal firefight, 3 SEALs were killed, including Lieutenant Michael Murphy, who exposed himself to enemy fire to call for help. Only Marcus Luttrell survived, crawling for miles with broken bones, saved by local villagers. It's one of the deadliest days in SEAL history. The 2011 raid on Osama bin Laden was a major victory, but what followed was disturbingly eerie. Months after the mission, members of SEAL Team 6 began dying in accidents. In August 2011, just 93 days after the raid, a helicopter crash in Afghanistan killed 30 U.S. servicemen, including 15 from SEAL Team 6. Though unrelated to the raid, conspiracy theories swirled. The tragic coincidence of these deaths added a chilling, morbid twist to the story of one of America's greatest military successes. In 2007, Navy SEAL Mike Day faced one of the most terrifying firefights imaginable. During a raid in Iraq, Day was shot 27 times at close range by 4 insurgents. The bullets pierced his body armor, hitting him in the arms, legs, abdomen, and even his buttocks. Despite the horrific injuries, Day kept fighting, taking out the insurgents before walking himself to a medevac helicopter. He miraculously survived, making his story one of the most morbidly incredible tales of endurance and sheer willpower in military history. NFL star-turned-soldier Pat Tillman's death is a haunting tragedy. In April 2004, while serving in Afghanistan with the Army Rangers, Tillman was killed in a chaotic firefight. Initially reported as an enemy ambush, it was later revealed he died from friendly fire, hit by bullets from his own comrades. SEALs and Rangers involved in the mission were caught in confusion, firing on each other. Tillman's death, shrouded in miscommunication and cover-ups, became a morbid symbol of the fog of war and the tragic cost of human error. On June 28, 1914, 19-year-old Gavrilo Princip committed one of history's most morbid acts, sparking World War I. Princip assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie in Sarajevo, shooting them at point-blank range. Ironically, Princip almost missed his chance. After a failed earlier attempt, he stumbled upon the Archduke's car by sheer luck. The Archduke's blood-soaked uniform and the eerie silence after the shots still haunt history. Princip's act set off a chain reaction of death and destruction, leading to over 16 million casualties in the war. On April 14, 1865, John Wilkes Booth committed one of America's most morbid acts, assassinating President Abraham Lincoln at Ford's Theater. A famous actor, Booth used his stage skills to slip into Lincoln's private box and shot him in the head at point-blank range. Booth then leapt onto the stage, breaking his leg in the process, but still managed to escape. His twisted belief that offing Lincoln would avenge the South led to a 12-day manhunt. Booth was eventually cornered and shot, but his morbid act left the nation in shock and grief, forever changing American history. On November 22, 1963, Lee Harvey Oswald allegedly committed one of the most terrifying and morbid acts in modern history, the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. From a 6th-floor window in the Texas School Book Depository, Oswald fired 3 shots as Kennedy's motorcade passed through Dallas. One bullet fatally struck the president in the head, leaving the world in shock. Oswald was arrested but never stood trial, as he was shot and killed by Jack Ruby just 2 days later. Conspiracy theories still swirl around the chilling events of that dark day, leaving more questions than answers. On January 30th, 1948, Nathuram Godse committed one of history's most morbid acts by assassinating Mahatma Gandhi, the leader of India's nonviolent independence movement. Godse, a Hindu nationalist upset with Gandhi's calls for peace between Hindus and Muslims, approached Gandhi during a prayer meeting in New Delhi and shot him 3 times at point-blank range. Gandhi collapsed, his final words allegedly being, "Oh God." Godse believed Gandhi's tolerance weakened India, but his chilling act plunged the nation into mourning and left an indelible scar on India's post-independence history. On December 8, 1980, Mark David Chapman committed a morbid and senseless act that shocked the world. Outside John Lennon's New York City apartment, Chapman, a Beatles fan turned disturbed assassin, calmly waited after getting Lennon's autograph earlier that day. As Lennon returned home, Chapman fired 5 shots, 4 of which struck the music icon, killing him instantly. Afterward, Chapman sat down and read The Catcher in the Rye, the book that bizarrely fueled his obsession. His chilling act ended the life of a legend, leaving fans and the world in disbelief and mourning. Aileen Wuornos is one of the most terrifying and morbid figures in U.S. criminal history. Between 1989 and 1990, she offed 7 men in Florida, damaging them at point-blank range. Wuornos, who exchanged money for certain favors, claimed she offed them in self-defense, alleging the men had tried to attack her. However, the brutality of the offings told a darker story. Her cold, emotionless demeanor during trial and interviews shocked the public. Wuornos was executed in 2002, but her chilling story of a female serial offer who preyed on men continues to fascinate and horrify to this day. Elizabeth Bathory, a Hungarian noblewoman, is one of history's most morbid figures, accused of offing hundreds of young girls in her castle. Known as the Blood Countess, legend says she did bad things to her victims, like bathing in their blood to preserve her youth. While exact numbers are debated, it's believed she offed at least 80, though some accounts claim over 600. Bathory's twisted reign of terror lasted for years until her arrest in 1610. She was never tried, but was imprisoned in her castle until her death. Her gruesome legacy still chills those who hear it centuries later. Belle Gunness, a Norwegian-American serial offer, earned her morbid reputation by luring victims to her Indiana farm, where they mysteriously disappeared. Under the guise of seeking marriage, Gunness offed numerous men for their money, as well as her own children. After a fire in 1908 revealed the remains of over 40 victims buried on her property, Gunness vanished. Though a headless body was found, many believe she faked her death and escaped. Her chilling methods of poisoning, dismemberment, and burial make her one of the most terrifying female serial offers in U.S. history. Myra Hindley, alongside her partner Ian Brady, committed the notorious Moors murders in the 1960s, one of the most terrifying and morbid crime sprees in British history. Together, they abducted, tortured, and offed 5 children, burying their bodies in the desolate Saddleworth Moor. Hindley's cold participation, including recording the final moments of their young victims, shocked the nation. Despite her later claims of remorse, Hindley remained a symbol of pure evil until her passing away in prison in 2002. The gruesome crimes continue to haunt the UK to this day, forever tied to her dark legacy. Carly Gregg, the teenager who fatally shot her mother and attempted to off her stepfather, has been sentenced to life in prison. The sentence was handed down to the 15-year-old on Friday, September 20th, 2024, after jurors in Rankin County, Mississippi, found her guilty on all counts, including first-degree murder. Gregg was age 14 at the time of the shooting on March 19, 2024, in which prosecutors argued she killed her 40-year-old mother, Ashley Smiley, with the mother's gun inside the family's home. Later, the teenager lied in wait in an apparent ambush designed to shoot and kill her stepfather, 39-year-old Heath Smiley, when he arrived home. Carly then fled, but was later arrested near the home. Leonarda Cianciulli, infamously known as the soap maker of Correggio, was an Italian serial offer who turned her victims into soap and tea cakes. Between 1939 and 1940, she offed 3 women, luring them with promises of fortune and then offing them with an axe. Cianciulli boiled their bodies, using the fat to make soap and baking their remains into tea cakes, which she served to guests. Believing the offings would protect her son during World War II, Cianciulli's morbid rituals left Italy horrified. Her chilling blend of offing and cannibalism remains one of the most gruesome in criminal history.